Good afternoon, everybody. Big Mike back here with you once again. Welcome back to Big Mike Talks, where today I cover the rest of the week in pro wrestling. My apologies for getting this out a little late. As we know, it was Father's Day yesterday, so I was celebrating with my father. So, sorry this didn't go up yesterday, but I will bring it to you here today, where I cover Ring of Honor, AEW Rampage, and the debut episode of AEW Collision. Now, yes, sadly no SmackDown this week because I was enjoying a little family time. So, I did see the end of SmackDown where we saw Jay's big decision and he super kicked Roman Reigns. So, looks like the Usos are out of the bloodline, and they're going to be feuding with Roman and Solo, which, I'm here for. So, that brings us to what I will be covering this week, and it starts with Ring of Honor. And we jump right into a Matt Sydal interview, where basically he's saying, look, I didn't wait around for my opportunities. I took the opportunities when they were handed to me, and I earned this shot. And Joe, I'm not intimidated by you. I'm ready to take your title. This leads right into a Samoa Joe interview in which he says, tonight I'm going to make an example out of you as to why you shouldn't mess with me. And the path to common sense goes through me, which, that's a killer line. And, that leads right into the Ring of Honor TV title match, as you got Samoa Joe defending against Matt Sydal. And while Sydal did start off really strongly, this was the Samoa Joe show, and he pretty much dominated with a big old muscle buster for the win and the retention. I'd say this was a really dang good matchup, and interested to see what they do with Mr. Sydal going forward. Next up, a bit of an interesting matchup as new to the Ring of Honor scene, Deimos, and he's being seconded by Shao Piper, Rowdy Piper's daughter, which we'll see her a bit later, as he takes on Nick Camarado. And honestly, this was a very basic, hoss fight. There was nothing really spectacular about it. I'm glad Deimos got some time, some offense in, but this was the Nick Camarado show. And he won with an Alabama Slam, which I don't see that winning matches often, so that's pretty cool to me. We then get a promo by the Varsity Athletes, and that's going to lead somewhere kind of funny. I'm honestly excited to cover. Where basically Smart Mark Sterling says, out there Tony Nese wants to get something off his chest. So, we'll see what that is a little later. Next up, tag team match playa as the Iron Savages, formerly Bear Country, take on Hot Sauce Tracy Williams and Rhett Titus, formerly Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. And honestly, these four dudes worked really, really well together. I'm glad to see the Savages developing a little bit more. And, after a Tower of Power, whatever you want to call it, where Boulder has Bronson on his shoulders and just slams him on his opponent, your winners, the Iron Savages. And of course, they keep bringing up the tag team champions, the Lucha Brothers. So, maybe in the future we get to see the Lucha Brothers versus the Iron Savages. I wouldn't hate it. Then we get a little promo by interview by the Workhorsemen, who are looking to get revenge on FTR. But of course, they are not here on ROH this week, so they are going to take their frustrations out on Mark Briscoe, who has been an associate of FTR. So that's going to be interesting. Next up, our first women's match of the night, as we have Diamante taking on Teal Piper, obviously the daughter of Rowdy Roddy Piper. Like I said earlier in the night, she seconded Deimos in his match, while Deimos is returning the favor here. And apparently there's more to their stable, so maybe we see them in the Ring of Honor one day? I'd be cool with that. This match was actually really, really fun. Diamante and Piper did work really, really well together. It did feel like Diamante still needed to get some kinks out, but overall I think she did a heck of a job. But your winner via submission, straightjacket submission, Diamante. Now we get the Varsity Athlete segment that I was talking about earlier. They come out. Nice has something to say. Pretty much saying, yeah, I just want to earn the respect of the fan base. But considering you all look like unhealthy slobs, I guess we can't connect to one another because I look like this. So instead of wrestling, I'm going to hold that up and we're going to do some exercises in which he actually leads the audience in exercises like push-ups and sit-ups. The audience was into it, and I thought this was hilarious. I thought this was great. And of course, the announcers were like, ugh, can we end it? The saving grace of, surprisingly, Serpentico coming out to the biggest pop I've ever heard from him. And that leads into this match, Tony Nese versus Serpentico. And honestly, I think this was one of the longer Serpentico matches I've ever seen. Definitely wasn't as one-sided as it usually is. But overall, Tony Nese was too great. And after Tony Nese, your winner, Tony Nese. Segment was a lot of fun. Match, while a little basic, I do kind of get the gist of. Next up, we get a Kyrie Hogan interview in which she's like, yeah, I'm Kyrie Hogan. I'm the hottest flame in ROH. I fake injuries for attention. And for a while there, I thought, what's going on with Kyrie? She's weird. Then I realized, oh, it's Athena. That's how bad Athena got me. Like, I no offense, I couldn't tell the difference. Like, not to say, oh, all of them, I'm not going to say that. I am not going to say that. But then the finish up came when the actual Kyrie Hogan comes in and just decks Athena. So their rivalry is going to continue, and it's, honestly, I'm down. I'm in. Next up, we got the Ring of Honor return of Notorious Mimi taking on Miranda Alizé. And it's always good to see a Miranda Alizé match. She is absolutely underrated, and I hope to see her a bit more. This was a bit of a basic match, kind of Lucha Libre style versus, big power woman style. But it did work for what it was. But then your winner via the drive-by, Miranda Alizé. And this leads into 6-man tag action, the first of the night. As we got Dalton Castle and the Reunited Boys, as one of them, I believe it was Brent, had suffered an injury previous, but now he's back. Take on The Righteous, which is Dutch and Vincent, and their new member, I guess, Stu Grayson, who looks like he's fallen deeper and deeper into indoctrination by The Righteous, and this is kind of a really interesting story. And honestly, this was a really, really good match. Everyone got some good stuff in. But your winner, after a triple powerbombing move, I don't even know what to call it, The Righteous and Stu Grayson. We then go to the back for a Dark Order interview, where basically they're saying, yeah, Stu, Righteous, we're not impressed with your level of violence. Coming in the next few weeks, we're gonna give you guys a beating and get our friend back. So that's gonna be interesting to see. Next up, we got Athena versus Trish Adora, which was an absolute masterclass of a match. It was a lot of fun to watch. But, end of the day, after an O-face, which Athena doesn't usually pull out for Ring of Honor tapings, which I am definitely grateful for because it makes the opponent feel a little bit more dangerous. But your winner, of course, Athena. But this doesn't stop the post-match attack. However, Kyrie Hogan makes the save at first, but then Athena keeps powering her out. And then Hogan, it was a real back and forth between Athena and Hogan. And then Hogan just gets out the weapons, the trash can lids, the kendo stick, and just starts beating down Athena in brutal fashion. So, it does look like both got a little hurt in this segment. Hopefully they're both okay. And, ready to go for their next outing together. Next up, we got Mark Briscoe taking on Anthony Henry one-on-one. Anthony Henry is such an underrated talent, and he and Mark Briscoe had some great chemistry together. You had JD Drake trying to interfere at times, but that failing. And then Mark wins with the good old Jay Driller, which I like as a move. It's one of my favorite moves. As much as I do like the Froggy Blow as well, the Jay Driller is a nice homage to Mark's brother. May he rest in peace. This is where the show kind of dragged a little bit for me, as we have Tony Khan making his on-screen debut for Ring of Honor, and he announces this next match for Colorado as oh, what match? It's Daniel Garcia versus DKC in a Pure Rules match, which we'll get to in a little bit. He appreciates what Stokely Hathaway is bringing. He hypes up the main event, which is the 6-man tag team title match. And then he announces a Chicago street fight between Athena and Hogan for the Ring of Honor Women's Championship next week. And then we go to the match from Colorado Springs, as it is a Pure Rules match between Daniel Garcia and New Japan Dojo Boy, the DKC. Now, if you don't understand what Pure Rules is, it's basically as such. If you are in a submission or a pinfall, you can only use 3 rope breaks to break it up. If you use up those rope breaks, you can be pinned or submitted pretty much anywhere. You are only allowed 1 closed fist shot. That is a warning. If another fist is used, that's a DQ. And then if anyone, let's say from a stable or something, interferes in the match, they are automatically fired, which, that's a little bit excessive, but whatever. This match was actually a lot of fun. Daniel Garcia still doing his, like, dancing thing. And honestly, the DKC really showed out in this match. Like, they gave him a lot of time, and he impressed me. Like, that was a very impressive outing. But your winner after the Dragon Tamer, Daniel Garcia. Then we get a promo from the six-man tag team champions, the Embassy, who are getting a little bored with the ROH six-man tag division. And that there hasn't been any worthy contenders. And after we're done with Andretti, Fox, and Martin, I don't know what we're going to do. So, a lot of foreshadowing for the main event, which I do like. Next up, your semi-main event. We got Viva Vane taking on Sky Blue. And honestly, this was pretty much a Sky Blue showcase match. And she wins after a Skyfall. Pretty quick match, but effective enough to really build Sky Blue for her next outing, which we will talk about. And finalema for Ring of Honor, we got the six-man tag team title match playa as the Embassy. That's Khan, Toa Leoa, and Brian Cage defending against Action Andretti, AR Fox, and Darius Martin. Now, at first, the Embassy does dominate, like, a lot. Eventually, the babyface team gets a one-up on some really close near falls, but then after a gory special kind of move, your winners and still Ring of Honor six-man tag team champions, the Embassy. I'm glad Andretti, Martin, and Fox got some good showing out of this match. And as much as I'm disappointed to see them lose, they looked really, really good together. Alright, that is Ring of Honor. Done and done. Now we go to AEW Rampage. That's right, no SmackDown for this week because I did miss out on that. But I did catch Rampage, and it was a lot of fun, starting out with the more opening of the Forbidden Door as Chaos members Trent Beretta, Chuck Taylor, and Rocky Romero take on the combined might of United Empire, which is Will Ospreay, Kyle Fletcher, and the returning Jeff Cobb. And honestly, this was a really, really fun match. A lot of frenetic stuff, but at one point we had Chaos going for their best friend hug, which you gotta give the people what they want. But then Jeff Cobb comes from behind them and just suplexes them all. Like, that is strength right there. Match ends with a pile driver from Hendricks, a hidden blade from Ospreay. Your winners, the United Empire. And honestly, this was definitely a fun yet chaotic bout that is exactly what United Empire really needed. Next up, we got Taya Valkyrie versus Trish Adora. I believe they had a bout in MLW previous to this. It wasn't Fusion, it was Underground, I believe. And I think this definitely lived up to the hype of that matchup. But after a leg trap into a stomp, so no Road to Valhalla for Trish Adora. So your winner, Taya Valkyrie. Then we get a Hardy Boys / Hardy Party / whatever promo with the Hardy Boys accepting the Guns Challenge for Dynamite to see who's the best wrestling brothers. Lucha Brothers. Anyway, So yeah, we're getting there. That tag match coming soon. I'm pretty excited for it. Then this interesting little matchup. It is a 6-person tag team match, playa. As you got Jeff Jarrett, Karen Jarrett making her in-ring AEW debut, and Jay Lethal taking on Mark Briscoe, referee Aubrey Edwards, and Papa Briscoe, Mark and Jay's father. And honestly, I think this was peak comedy. Yeah, when Mark and Jay Lethal were in there, they did good work. Jeff Jarrett did some good stuff. Once Karen and Aubrey eventually did face off, it was pretty much comedy gold. Including Aubrey Edwards hitting Satnam Singh with a guitar shot, which that was awesome. Mark Briscoe blocked the stroke into a figure 4. So, your winners by submission, Aubrey Edwards, Papa Briscoe, and Mark Briscoe. And honestly, that was the most insane thing I think I've ever seen in a wrestling show. And I'm still here for it. Can't wait to see what Aubrey does in the future. We then get a Taya Valkyrie interview. And after her win against Adora, she feels great. Crowd couldn't get enough of me. But she has had enough of Chris Statlander. She stole my spotlight and my spot. I was going to win the TBS title. But then she picked up the scraps of Jade Cargill. And then Statlander walks in. She pretty much says to Taya, yeah, it wasn't my fault that Mark Sterling issued that open challenge and that I answered. You were a little late on the trigger, so I called my shot. So next week I'm going to issue an open challenge of my own, and you are very welcome to answer it. And apparently on Twitter she answered it, so this Wednesday we are getting Statlander versus Taya, which, you know, that sounds like a fun match. I can't wait for that. Then we get the usual, at least the start of the usual spiel from Mark Henry, but then he's interrupted by Don Callis and Takeshita. Callis pretty much saying, yeah, Takeshita only wrestles top talent, and while Bandito is indeed talented, he is not on Takeshita's level. He's better than Kenny Omega, he's better than Great Muta, etc., etc. And tonight, Bandito, you're in for a long night, which then leads into our Rampage main event, as we get Bandito versus Konosuke Takeshita. And oh boy, this match was a lot of fun. The clashing of styles. You got Lucha Libre over here, you got the Japanese style over here, and they mesh beautifully. Absolutely beautifully. Including a big blue thunder bomb from Takeshita for a near fall, in which, you know, we just saw that last Monday win a match, which, that was awesome. Bandito near the end tried for the 21 plex, but that got blocked. Then we get the power drive knee, where your winner, Konosuke Takeshita. And I am so ready to see what they do with Takeshita. I'm kind of hoping maybe he dethrones Orange Cassidy. Don't get me wrong, he still has a way to go, but I think Takeshita being the one to dethrone Cassidy, I think that's the right way to go. Maybe you do that over at Wembley, perhaps. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, so that is Rampage. We then finish up with Saturday's newest show, AEW Collision. And woo boy. we start out white hot with the white hot opening promo of course, Chick Magnet Phil, aka CM Punk. And, he brings up, love me or hate me, you know I'm right. An exec over at WB Discovery calls me One Bill 3 Phil. One truth in that. Over the counterfeit bucks, hint hint, nudge nudge. Calls himself the king. And right here, he has a red bag. Pretty much says, right here is something I never lost. I should have it now. AKA the AEW World Title. So I will be going for it in the future. And until someone can fill my boots, they are mine. And I am ready to go. So, pretty much basic CM Punk promo. And honestly, I'm happy he's back. I know there's still a little bit of a dark cloud over him, but this was a good opening promo. Our first match is for the TNT title as Luchasaurus takes on Wardlow. And this was pretty much a kaiju fight. This was like on the level of Godzilla versus King Kong. They ripped into each other. They tore each other apart. But the finish came a little bit interestingly, as Christian Cage, who is managing Luchasaurus, when Luchasaurus had the ref distracted, he grabbed one of the ringside workers' cameras and hit Wardlow with it. And then after he roll up your winner, Luchasaurus, a new TNT champion. I'm going to give this match basically a thumbs up. It was an absolutely fun match, and I'm going to see what happens there. Next up, we got Powerhouse Hobbs pretty much saying, I said I'd be on the show. I never said I'm going to be wrestling. However, I do have one announcement, as I am entering my name into the Owen Hart Memorial Tournament. Which, a good first entrant. Going to be interesting to see where the Owen Hart Cup goes. Next up, in an absolute beauty of a match, you'll have Buddy Matthews versus the returning Andrade El Idolo. And these two worked their absolute butt off, including some hopefully simulated injuries. Hopefully it's not real. Lots of good back and forth. Lots of great chemistry. Then Andrade gets the figure 4 on. And then transitions into the figure 8. In homage to his significant other, Charlotte Flair. And your winner by submission, Andrade El Idolo. So, post-match, Andrade goes to shake Buddy Matthews' hand, and about halfway through reciprocating it, lights go out. And then when the lights come back on, we see the rest of the House of Black, and with a big old lariat by Brody King, who takes out Andrade. So, for right now, it looks like Andrade needs a little backup and is targeting the Trios champions. He does have a group. Just gonna leave it at that. Alright, next up, we got a Scorpio Sky vignette. As he says he's waiting for the perfect opportunity. And now, I'm the future and the present of AEW. Which, fun little return promo. I'm gonna be interested to see what Scorpio Sky does in the ring, because I've missed him. Next up, we got Tony Nese And he pretty much repeats the same segment from Ring of Honor, tries to get the audience to exercise. They don't go along with it, which it's surprisingly the contrast between the two promotions. So, yeah, we'll see. And then who turns up to give him a match? It's the Redeemer himself. It's Miro. And honestly, this was the Miro show. As he wins with the big old game over submission. And it's good to see Miro back. Hopefully, we get to see more of Miro on Collision. We get a nice little CM Punk vignette. Pretty much going over what has happened over the past, half a year. We then get our first women's action of Collision, and it's a tag team match playa as Ruby Soho and the AEW Women's Champion, Toni Storm, take on Sky Blue, Chicago's own, and the New Japan Strong Women's Champion, Willow Nightingale, my girl. Always good to see her. This match was a little bit basic, but then it did pick up after a while. You get Sky Blue and Willow Nightingale getting plenty of offense, but not too much, if that makes any sense. Soho goes for the spray paint. That's stopped, and it's sprayed into the eyes of Ruby Soho's partner, Toni Storm. Death Valley Driver by Willow Nightingale, and the Code Blue by Sky Blue. So, your winners, Sky Blue and Willow Nightingale. Hopefully that means Sky Blue is getting another decent shot at the AEW Women's title at some point. Fingers crossed. We get a backstage promo from Ricky Starks announcing he's an entrant for the Owen Hart Foundation Cup. So we got two pretty decent sized names for the tournament so far. We then get the announcement of Jeff Jarrett versus Mark Briscoe in a concession stand brawl, which is going to be on Dynamite this week, which last time that happened, I think it was in the 80s. So that's going to be interesting. We then get an acclaimed in-ring promo. Pretty much everyone wishing Billy Gunn a happy Father's Day, which, yeah, he takes really well. And they pretty much say, yeah, while we are on a bit of a losing streak, the trios tag team titles are still in our sights. And we're going to make history with the first ever Collision scissor, which they ultimately do. That's great. Including Tony Schiavone getting involved, which, that was funny as heck. And then, Fine Alamo. We get to our main event of the evening, 6-man tag team action, as Samoa Joe, the Ring of Honor TV champion, who has a new design belt, which I do really like, as he teams with Jay White and Juice Robinson of Bullet Club Gold, as they take on the AEW Tag Team Champions, FTR, and the returning CM Punk. And while I'm not going to go over everything that happened, seeing CM Punk and Jay White in the same ring at the same time was mind-blowing. Like, I know Bullet Club Gold is going after the tag straps. Just seeing Jay White in there with someone I grew up really enjoying in WWE is just, it blows my mind. This match was really good. Punk wasn't in it all the time, which I'm honestly glad to see that, because, well, let's just say this, his body really can't keep up. He's just coming off another injury. Hopefully he maybe tones down his style a little bit. Because I want to see him finish his own story in AEW. Maybe that includes a match with the Elite. Fingers crossed. Then after a big rig into the GTS, your winners, CMFTR. In what was pretty good match, very well paced, and just a lot of fun. Alright, that is it for me for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed. We are in for a big week this week because it's Forbidden Door on Sunday, and I will be bringing you my predictions for that on Thursday. I'm not waiting all day until Sunday because that'll take a while. Then my normal coverage of the weekly stuff is going to happen. So Friday, going to cover Raw, Power if it's on, AEW Dynamite, MLW and Impact. That'll be on Friday. And then Sunday, hopefully at some point before the pay-per-view, I'll cover ROH, SmackDown, Rampage, and Collision. And NWA UFC if there's a new episode. So, yep, got all that to look forward to. We got Money in the Bank coming a little bit after that. And, then, a little after that, it's Slammiversary. We got AAA Triple Mania. A lot to look forward to, and I am ready. I hope you guys are too. Until next time, happy wrestling, everybody. Peace.